Hello, Libra Risings. Welcome to your monthly zodiac reading for the month of September 2025. We are heading into eclipse season, so we will try to get to as much stuff as we can. As always, we will pull an overall energy theme for the month, tarot for each week. We will go over those messages, discuss the astrological transits, and then wrap it up with some additional tarot and oracle guidance. So let's see what Libra Risings need to know for the month of September 2025. What do Libra risings need to know for the month of September 2025? You are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. Now, we don't have a full moon in Virgo happening this month. We have another new moon in Virgo. However, it could mean that this full moon lunar eclipse cycle is pushing you to maybe let go of perfections. Things do not have to be perfect in order for you to feel good enough. You are innately good enough, okay? Let's see what the tarot has to say. Here in the first week, the Six of Pentacles, so an equal give and take. This could also represent, you know what I mean, needing to give without sort of any sort of expectation in return. Here in the second week, the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Maybe feeling like maybe choosing to leave an organization or group effort. It almost feels like you giving without any sort of expectation, or you giving and investing in something that you would like to receive something back. This almost feels like in the second week, there's this fear that if you're not receiving back what you feel like you're putting in, that there's this fear coming up that you're not worthy, that you are not worth the effort. It's almost like I'm trying to like formulate the words, because like to describe the feeling that I'm getting, it's almost like there's this deep fear that you're not worth other people investing in you the way you invest in others. Okay? That's immediately kind of the feeling that's coming in. And this is the week of the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. Pisces will be hitting your 6th house of health and work habits. Virgo is hitting your 12th house, which is your house of the subconscious, right? So if there's this subconscious fear that you are not good enough, then that can reflect it. But the full moon in Pisces is giving you an opportunity to let go of that. Okay. Here in the third week, the Four of Pentacles. So this is definitely Pisces focus, your 6th house. This is definitely focused around your relationships, your finances, your career, things like that. Again, here in the third week, the Four of Pentacles, really holding on to something. What are you holding on to? Again, is it this fear that you are not good enough? Is it this fear that you're not good enough? You're not worthy enough for people to invest in you the way you invest into others? And then the Seven of Wands, the only wands that have come out on the table. The Seven of Wands is continuing to fight for your seat at the table, continuing to know that what you're fighting for, what you're working towards, whatever creative endeavor you're working towards, whatever you're passionate about, is worth the fight in the long run, right? This is really putting those boundaries in the ground and being like, I am not going to not fight for what it is that I want. I'm not going to fight for what it is that I am passionate about. I am going to continue to fight for these things that mean something to me. So here in this first week, the Six of Pentacles, this is the week that Saturn is going to go retrograde within the sign of Pisces. Saturn is time, karma, boundaries. It is our humanity. It is the lessons that we learn in this lifetime. And again, Pisces is your sixth house of health and work habits. It may mean that you need to invest more into yourself. You need to invest more into maybe even your coworkers. The sixth house rules coworkers. It just means like really maybe giving without really any sort of expectation, right? Here, we also will be experiencing Mercury moving into the sign of Virgo. So Mercury is thoughts, ideas, communication, and messages, and it's moving into your 12th house. So things could become very, very clear. Your conversations could take a very deep and self-reflective tone, or things from the subconscious could be impacting how you choose to communicate. All right. Uranus is going to go retrograde within the sign of Gemini. Uranus is an outer planet, so we may not feel this, you may not feel this energy directly like others will because it's an outer planet, but we will see this retrograde play out on the world stage. Gemini for you guys sits in your 9th house. So if things have kind of been shaking up around like higher learning, philosophy, if your spiritual or religious beliefs have been taking on a more rebellious tone, then you may begin to reevaluate these kind of themes that have been coming up. This sense of rebellion, this sense of innovation, you may begin to reevaluate, and you might be investing your time in other places, right? Here in the third week, like I said, this is the week of the full moon lunar eclipse within the sign of Pisces. This is happening on the 7th. Full moons are a buildup of energy, and the eclipse is only going to amplify that in a way that is very, very unpredictable. So here with you guys, again, Pisces sitting within your 6th house, maybe you're choosing to be a loner at work. You could be choosing to do things kind of on your own terms, or you may be desiring a more collaborative effort at work. Like there's too many egos in the room here, too many chiefs, not enough Indians, right? So it could be that there is a struggle to find a good, healthy, level playing field of communication or even collaboration. When it comes to the work environment, this is also the week that we will experience a Sun-Mercury cazimi within the sign of Virgo. Again, hitting your 12th house, a cazimi happens when the sun sits right next to another planet. And that planet the sun's light will amplify the energy and themes of that planet. So this time it is Mercury. So thoughts, ideas, communication, and even messages are being amplified. I would pay attention to your intuition and your dreams around the 13th. I get the feeling the fact that this is happening within your 12th house, the house of the subconscious and dreams, that you might actually find something very, very revealing in those, in that area of your life. Here in the third week, the Four of Pentacles, holding on to something really tight, maybe something from the past. Mercury is moving into your first house. So again, thoughts, ideas, communication, moving into your first house. People could see you as a very clear communicator. You could be having a lot of ideas around your identity and even how you show up in the world, right? Really wanting to communicate how you show up in the world. We will also be experiencing Venus moving into the sign of Virgo. Mercury in Libra is going to be happening on the 18th, I believe, and Venus moving into Virgo is going to be happening on the 19th. But Venus is not at home in Virgo. She's in her detriment there, meaning she's not very comfortable in Virgo's very nitpicky, very organized, and very structured, very perfectionistic type of energy. She's not at home there. Right? So she's not, she doesn't feel very comfortable. Okay, so Venus is moving into your 12th house. Here in the last week, this is the week that we will experience the new moon solar eclipse within the sign of Virgo. This is the second new moon that we will experience in the sign of Virgo. This is a rare event. I think that this only happens like once every 33 months. So to speak. So almost 2.5, 3 years, we only experience a double new moon in the same sign. But again, new moons are new beginnings, and solar eclipses are going to amplify that energy within the sign of Virgo. The first new moon in Virgo happened at the 0 degree, representing a new beginning. And this will be happening at the 29th degree, representing an ending. All right. So for you guys, it could be this desire or this realization that you need to just keep fighting for what it is that you're passionate about. And it almost means you could also need to put in boundaries, really set some boundaries, just to simply protect yourself, protect your mental health, really, because the 12th house is also our mental health. We will also experience, that happens on the 21st, on the 22nd, we are experiencing Mars moving into the sign of Scorpio. So Mars is the planet of action, aggression, power, and control, and it is moving into your second house. Your second house governs things like money. It governs things like material possessions, financial assets, as well as self-worth and your belief systems, like value systems, right? How you perceive how things are valuable to you is based on a very Scorpio lens. Mars moving into the sign of Scorpio, you guys could become very passionate and almost maybe even a very obsessive about the idea of material possessions and even maybe material security. So it might be that you need to start setting some boundaries there. Last but not least, on the 22nd, we will experience Libra season. Libra season begins on the 22nd, and it coincides with the fall equinox. Anytime we shift into a new season, the signs, themes, and qualities tend to take center stage for the next several weeks. So for the next several weeks, when Libra seasons begin, we will be seeing a focus on relationships, connections, balance, harmony, social justice, things of that nature. Let's see what Libra risings need to know for the rest of the month. Let's see. The Six of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. You're putting a lot of energy and effort into something that maybe you receive something back, but you're wanting something deeper. That's what I feel like. Mercury moving into your 12th house is wanting to give you something deeper, something that means more than just maybe a material give and take, so to speak. Again, Saturn retrograde going into Pisces, this is hitting your 12th house of work habits. So this could be career. Like maybe you feel stable, you feel secure in maybe the job that you're in. You feel like you get equally what it is that you invest, right? So you make good money for the effort and the time and the energy that you invest into your job, but you may be struggling to find something more fulfilling with the Seven of Cups. Now, in between, this is the Two of Swords. You're not wanting, it's almost like because there's such a sense of security and stability, you don't want anything deeper. The Two of Swords is like cutting you off from hearing your intuition, from hearing that pull that you need something deeper and maybe even more meaningful in your life. All right. So here in this first week, maybe just open yourself up. Just because you receive a really nice return on your investment when it comes to your career, when it comes to your health and your work habits, things of that nature, or even your relationships, does not mean that you can't create something that's deeper than that. Right? And it could be for some of you that you're wanting something a little bit more stable, you're wanting something a little bit more secure, but you're not entirely sure what that is. So you're having a hard time making a decision on how to go about getting that because you're not entirely sure what that is. Okay? Here in the second week, the Three of Pentacles in reverse, the Ten of Swords, and the Hermit. Okay, so this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces could represent that maybe somebody at work maybe stabs you in the back a little bit. I know that sounds super petty and it's like, what are you talking about? But like I said, this represents a collaborative effort. It represents working together to create something. When this is in reverse, like I said, it's kind of like a desire for clear communication and collaboration. The Ten of Swords represents a betrayal. It represents feeling stabbed in the back, typically by words. So I'm getting the feeling, and because this is happening in your sixth house, which is your house of like coworkers and your work habits and daily routines and the things that involve your day-to-day life, you could feel very like betrayed by somebody at work, maybe feeling like you're wanting to leave because somebody's like almost gone behind your back and done something. And the Hermit, and it's almost like the Hermit in reverse is unfortunately allowing you, it's almost like you see the truth of who somebody is now. You see the truth of maybe the environment that you're in, and you're having to move forward with that new perspective. You're having to engage in others, knowing who they are, and that may be why you're having to put up boundaries now. Because you can no longer give people that same side of you that you were once able to do. So you're having to move forward with this new, much clearer and unfortunate perspective. Here in the so now maybe you're prone to keep things close to the chest. The Four of Pentacles, the Page of Swords. It could be that the it's kind of like keeping things close to the chest, but it's almost like you're moderating what it is that you say with the Page of Swords. You're being a little bit more cautious with what it is that you, with who and what it is that you invest your time and your energy into. And might actually create a greater sense of peace than what it is that you realize. Just because somebody does something untowards, whether that's talk about you behind your back, report something to a boss, again, because we're focusing kind of, it seems a lot like this could be focusing on your career, focusing on the workplace, that putting in those boundaries and kind of keeping things closer to the chest is actually creating a greater sense of peace and happiness than maybe what you expected it to. But just because somebody does not, it does not reflect your value. It does not reflect your worth. It actually says, of course, much more about them than it does about you, right? Also, too, it could be that you holding on tightly to something can also represent that you're not learning your lesson. The Page of Swords, when it's in reverse, can represent that you're not learning the lessons that you've been experiencing. Like you're not learning anything from this experience. Okay? You're not learning anything from this experience of and it's almost like you didn't learn your lesson and you're just like giving this, you're just opening your arms anyway for some of you. Almost like what happened, yeah, you let it bother you, but you're not like, I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to say this because I can feel it. I can feel almost like you don't care. You're like, I'm not going to let their behavior impact me. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me regardless. They're going to do what they're going to do anyway. I know what I can say and I know what I can't say now. but I'm still going to approach everything with my arms wide open. Okay. Which I think is it's lovely and it's very carefree. As a Scorpio rising is not what I would do, but that does kind of seem where that energy is headed. And again, that's just for some of you. It's not for all of you. I do feel like the main energy is that you're keeping things a little bit closer to your chest and you're a little bit more cautious with what you say. And it's actually going to create this greater sense of peace and stability, emotional stability, maybe even within the workplace. Here in the last week, putting in boundaries, the Knight of Wands, taking action on what it is that you're very passionate about. Ooh, and again, speaking truth, being clear and direct with your communication with the Queen of Swords. You see things clearly now. You don't need to pretend like what happened didn't happen. You see things clearly, and now you're able to speak these boundaries with a clearer intention. You know that you're good enough. And this person's behavior is not going to change that. This person's shady behavior is not going to change that. Okay? This was definitely interesting for sure, and it feels very specific. But prioritize reflection. This Two of Swords here, you're avoiding tapping in deeper because there's this feeling of stability and security. It's almost like I know that I want something deeper. I know that I want something more meaningful, but and maybe because of work, maybe because your schedule is very, very busy, you're not taking the time it takes to find out what that is. You're not taking the time it takes to get clear on what it is that you want right here. A lot of things seem appealing, but the thing about the Seven of Cups is that not everything that glitters is gold. So you need to get real clear on what it is that you actually want to invest your time and your energy into. And that's only going to come from prioritizing self-reflection. Confessions. I'm telling you, someone says something. I normally don't make such like a blanket. It's rare that I feel like the message is that blank and that clear and that direct. But with the full moon lunar eclipse, somebody shows you their true colors. Someone shows you their true colors, and you need to decide on what it is that you want. And I just felt this too. When it comes to your career, when it comes to your job, yes, you make good money for the effort that you put in, but again, it's not as fulfilling as what you want, as what you're looking for. And you could choose to up and leave a job because you're like, I'm just done. I'm done with the mundane. I'm done with the mundane. I don't want to do the mundane anymore. And you're choosing to move forward with this brand new sense of clarity and perspective with the Hermit in reverse. That's interesting. And you need to be honest with yourself. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the little worker bee anymore, or I don't want to do something that's not fulfilling to my soul. I don't want to do something that's not fulfilling to my heart. Like I'm working and I make good money and everything feels good and it feels stable and it feels easy, but there's something lacking. Okay, and you could choose, again, with the full moon lunar eclipse, to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. I think I'm done with this. And that may be the confession that you need to make to yourself. Recognize that I don't want to do this anymore because this is in alignment with what I want. You know what I mean? Here in the third week, the Four of Pentacles, Page of Swords in reverse, and the Ten of Cups, you need to get in touch with your body. Your body's going to tell you what it is that you need to know. You may need to moderate your time. And I feel like watch out for headaches. Maybe it's because the Page of Swords and swords is the mind. But be mindful of headaches. But get in touch with your body, because your body's going to tell you exactly what you need to feel fulfilled. Your body's going to tell you exactly what you need to feel this sense of happiness and joy and peace that maybe you're really looking for in your life. And take it easy. Don't overexert yourself. Take it easy and don't overexert yourself. The Four of Pentacles can represent holding on to something, but it can also represent like conserving your resources. Right? So just take it easy. Don't overdo anything. But you need to get in touch with your body, conserve those resources, conserve your energy, your mental, your emotional energy as well, and really take a listen to what it is that your body is saying to you. Here in the fourth week, tell it like it is. I told you. The Queen of Swords, like, she's a clear and direct communicator. She sees things clearly. She has the ability, she's emotionally intelligent, but she's logical enough to where her emotions do not get the best of her. Right? She speaks more from a logical perspective than she does an emotional one, but her emotions are there and she does understand the perspectives of others. Okay? But you need to tell it like it is. All right? And that's, if you need, place boundaries. I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to do that. And that gives you the opportunity to pursue what it is that you're also passionate about even. Right? So that's beautiful. Remember that you're good enough. You don't have to do extra for people to see that. You don't have to do more to feel like you're good enough. You're already innately good enough. Okay? You're good enough to go after what it is that you really want and not just conform to what it is society has told you that you need or that you want. Okay, so I truly hope this helped. I hope you guys have an incredible month, and we will see you next time.